Yo, what's up YouTube? JP here. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I'm very interested in, and I'm sure you'll be very interested in as well. As you can see by the video title, today we're going to be talking about how to get strong. Now there are a number of coaches or any number of professionals, I guess, who like to sell you the idea that they have some mystical program or method or system that's going to see you at 50% or 100% to your lifts in so long. And while some programs might be better than others, and there is definitely going to be variation in that regard, there are a few key points that you need to consider if you truly want to become as strong as humanly possible. The points I'm about to share with you, I'm sure no strength athlete in the world would disagree with, or no top level strength athlete in the world would disagree with. It's pretty straightforward, and follow these simple steps and you too can become one of the strongest people in the world. It goes as simple as this. You must train hard under a well-designed program with a good coach consistently for a long amount of time. Okay, so obviously you need to train hard. This is a given. Training hard doesn't mean beating yourself up in training. The hard part about training is actually just doing the training. In fact, to be honest, I'd reckon powerlifting training is actually quite easy. You follow a structure of lifts, you have numbers to follow. Today I'm going to squat 3 sets of 5 at 80%. Just go in and do it. It's not that hard. The hard part about training is actually turning up to training half the time and dealing with recovery and managing training load and a whole bunch of other factors. The training itself isn't too hard, but remaining consistent is the hard part. Okay, the second step is about following a well-designed program. Now, program design is obviously a very integral part of strength training, and there are many different approaches to designing programs. There are many different types of periodization models that you can follow, and a whole myriad of factors to consider when designing a program. And yes, it is true, some programs will be more effective than others in delivering results. But as I'm going to explain later, for the most part, don't get too caught up with trying to find the miracle program. More or less, find a good program and stick to that, and one that's designed by a good coach, which is what I'm about to speak about next. Okay, training under a good coach is critical to your success in the sport of powerlifting or in any sport. It does not matter how good of a lifter you are, it does not matter how good of a coach you think you are, does not matter how educated you think you are. Having a good coach is a critical component of being a successful athlete. Does not matter what sport. So, for example, Roger Federer has a coach, Tiger Woods has a coach, Usain Bolt has a coach, and all the top lifters of the world have coaches. Having a good coach is going to be there to guide you through your training, and they're going to be there to help you with your program design. Touching on what I spoke about before, yes, programs will be better than others, and it is in conjunction with your coach that you design a program that's best suited for you at that time to address your weaknesses, to best see your progression. So finding a good coach is very, very important. And the final step, and in my opinion, the most important step in becoming as strong as humanly possible, is to train consistently for a long amount of time. It is as simple as that. It takes patience and it takes a long amount of time. I think it was Bryce Lewis of The Strength Athlete who shared some data that he collected from the IPF Classic World Championships, where I think the average age of the open male lifters that competed was something like 33, and I think in the women it might have been even older. I think it might have been 34 or 35. Now, that doesn't mean that being older makes you stronger. It means by training for a longer amount of time, you'll become stronger, because those 33-year-olds have been training for 10 or 15 years at the least, assuming that they started when they were 20. Whereas the juniors, who are obviously tend to be a little bit weaker than their open competitors, have only been training for a short amount of time, given their age. So training for a long time is a very important part. Now, the second reason why training for a long time consistently is so important is because it'll even out any variations you see in program design and coaching that you might experience. So for example, in your training career, you might have periods where you follow a good program and see good progress, and you might follow programs that you thought were good but didn't turn out to be as well as you thought they were going to be, and you might have regressed and progressed and regressed. In the long term, if you train for a long time, those fluctuations will even themselves out. And more or less, the programs you follow will be of less importance compared to the duration for which you train. I have a little saying that I tell all the guys that I coach, and it's as simple as this. If you train 5 days a week, every week, for 15 years, I guarantee you, you'll be strong. Let that sink in for a second. If you train consistently every week for 10 or 15 years, you will be strong. It is impossible to not become strong by doing that. One of the other things that I like to tell the guys that I coach is to not chase super fast progress early on. It's not necessary. If you add even only 7.5 kilos to your squat once a year, which isn't excessive, but you do that every year for 10 years, you will have added 75 kilos to your squat. Take a moment now, think about what your squat is, add 75 kilos to it. How amazing would that be? And it doesn't take a miracle, it just takes hard training under a good coach, under a good program for a long amount of time. Okay guys, that's all I want to talk about today. It's pretty simple. I don't want you to get caught up in the nitty-gritty details of your training. I don't want you to get caught up in looking for the fastest solution or following some crazy 13-week squat programs to add 50 kilos to your squat. All that stuff is irrelevant because it's a pretty simple process. If you want to become as strong as possible, speak to any top-level strength athlete and I'm sure they'll agree. If you've enjoyed this video, as always, hit the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got some fresh content coming out hopefully every week. Otherwise, I'll speak to you next time. Thanks very much.
Joey, come back! How the fuck did you get a bicycle? Holy crap, I'm running like a bicycle person. Oh my god.
This is a... athletes is that if you